So here we are, my first live. How's everybody doing? I I would like to start off by just kind of explaining what my intentions are. I I've been in the workforce for many years, and I've seen a need for management change. I've seen a need for desperate change. Over the years, you hear a lot of different things from workers about management. You hear a lot of different things from management about workers. And unfortunately, I really feel like that there's a gap. There needs to be a bridge. And with my book, my workbook, my intentions are to help bridge this gap. And it starts, in my opinion, it starts with changing our management's mentality, changing our management styles, and how we, not just how we manage, but how we communicate with our workers, how we carry ourselves. It's very important because if we don't carry ourselves in such a way that is going to gain respect, then what we're doing, I feel like we're fighting an uphill battle. So what I've done is I've developed this training program, and it's called entry level, but I really believe it's for anybody that's wanting to hone in on their leadership skills. I've I've been in the workforce. I've been promoted to management. I've seen people promoted into management from my perspective of from my experiences, I mean, of just being a good worker. And just being a good worker is great. Everybody wants to be a good worker. That's the goal. But to take good worker and go into management without training, without leadership training, again, you're going to be fighting an uphill battle. And so many times there's an issue with a boss, and I'm willing to bring it up. I'm willing to talk about it, but there, unfortunately, I can't get the workers together to come communicate to the boss. So I've decided, instead of trying to help the workers communicate to the boss, what I want to do is help the management lead. And that's where it all starts. So in my workbook, the first question I ask is, what is a manager and what do they do? I know that it sounds so simple, and it sounds so basic that everybody knows. Well, I believe that how you see management is going to not just paint the picture of what a manager, of what you do as a manager. It's going to pave the road. And so if your experiences are based on having a leadership type manager, then your chances are probably better. If your experiences are having that boss, then you're not set up for success necessarily, unfortunately. There's a lot of get back to work mentality in the uh, management styles. There's a lot of that, and it's frustrating because there's so much more to what we can be. What happens is we go from being a worker, and it's being our individual achievements that bring us up, right? It's what we do. It's what we're expected of on a day-to-day basis. It's about us. Well, when you get into management, it's not that simple. It's about you leading a group, and how you act and how you project yourself. Unfortunately, this is what is going to it's what's going to make your workers react to you. And what I mean by that is, unfortunately, is because so many times have you heard this saying, I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to get a job done? Well, you're going to struggle as well. So what I want you to do, I want you to think about what is a manager and what do they do? Okay. And as you think about this, I want you to think about how would you manage? Is there anything you would do differently? Because it's real easy to fall into a boss mentality. When you're working your way up in your career, it's your boss is expecting you to do your job. Okay? You have expectations from your boss. And typically from a day-to-day basis, you understand what those are. So you go into work, you do your job. Well, now your main job is to make sure all these people do their job. So now your boss's expectations of you are numbers, quotas for the month, for the quarter, for the day. And so you're being pressured to produce, but it's not you necessarily doing the work. It's your workers. So it's real simple to become the boss you didn't like. It's real simple to fall into a bossy mentality. And that's what I want to talk about. That's why a majority of my workbook, I don't want to say a majority, but a lot of my workbook is blank lines. And so as I ask questions, as I ask you questions, we're going to go through these questions based on your experiences, your career, your life. So it's your class. And I'm speaking to everybody because it's designed to be specific to each individual. It's a coaching experience. So when I ask you, what's a manager and what do they do? I want you to write that down. Write down a bunch of answers. Write down whatever you think that this is to any level. For example, is it someone that just sits in their office and apparently to you doesn't do anything, just calls you when you need something done and go do your job? Is it someone that works beside you from time to time and helps you? Is it someone you can go to when you have a problem? Is it someone that when you go to, they'll listen? Okay, now again, I want you to think about what would you do differently, because this is about you. Okay, it's not about your workers. So let's just, for example, you've already been managing for a while and you have a problem worker, maybe a problem group of workers. Now, what I want you to do is, instead of focusing on their problems, I want you to stop focusing on their problems, what they're doing wrong, what he or she is doing wrong, what they need to do better. Okay? We're going to turn the focus backwards to you, back to me, to you. And what I mean by that is how we act, how we speak, whether it's body language, rolling our eyes, looking away. It's their perception that's going to dictate how they see you. And if your workers don't respect you, if your workers feel disrespected, they're not going to produce the same. So I want to help you become a stronger leader, a strong leader, a effective leader. Because leading, we need to pull our teams, right? We need to be there for our teams from the front. If they need help, go out and help them. Don't tell them to look it up online. That's so frustrating. So if if I can give one piece of advice, is whenever you're set to point fingers, I want you to think about how you acted. So for example, let's just say you have a worker or a customer that came in and they're just yelling at you and screaming at you and making it personal to you. And even if you haven't had this experience as a manager, I want you to think about this. So many times, if not every time, the excuse is that you're yelling at me, so I'm going to yell back at you. Well, what I want to ask is, where did the customer get their anger or their frustrations? Where did they get the inclination to be mad? What we do, how we act, affects others way more than we think, way more than we know. And if you're doing something, okay, even if, let's just back up, even if you're not specifically doing something to make them mad, I want to help you to learn how to calm them down by you being calm. People react to us. People react to how we communicate, what we say and what we do. So as a manager, as a leader, I want you to think about yourself. What can I do better? So if you're looking at your staff, or you're thinking about, so let's just say, for example, you're being promoted within your company and you're going to be managing people that you already know. You're probably going into this with a mentality of knowing these people, knowing, okay, well, this person needs this person needs that, this person's really slow, or this person's not doing their job. Well, if we can pause that and hold on to that and see what can I do better, then we're going to be the best we can be. Others are going to want to be their best around us. They're going to want to work for you. Have you ever had a boss that you asked for help and they just shunned you off? Said, you can, the one thing that really gets me is, you got this, you can figure it out. Well, I've already tried and I'm struggling. I'm asking for help. So instead of, I mean, yes, it's not negative or bad to tell somebody you got this and good job and you can do this. Maybe ask them, is there anything that you need from me? What can I do? What can you think of that I can do to help you? So as we go through this, as we go through my workbook, my goal is to bring your personalities out and decide, and I have a 4-step process, basically based on personality traits and management, is things to keep, things to strengthen, things to work on, and things to drop. Okay, so as we go through, we will be discussing different personality traits, different thought processes that you're having, and figuring out what can be done, what can be honed in on to make you a better leader, a stronger leader. So if this interests you, I will be online Wednesdays at 2:00, and if the time changes, I'll announce it. And if you need further information, if you need to get a hold of me, or if you want to ask me a question, send me an email, phone call, scan the QR code, or the link below is the web address for they both go to the same place. And it has all my contact information, where to find my workbook, where to find my podcast, my direct link to my phone, direct link to emails. It's a virtual business card. So please reach out if you have any questions and you're interested. Join me next time. Ask me questions. Anything you want to ask. If you're struggling with something, if there's something you want to talk about, if there's something you want to deal with, and you're struggling what to do, if you're new to management and you don't know where to begin, this is something that can help you, hopefully. So I wish you all the best. I hope to see you again, and have a wonderful day. God bless.